Hello students, this is Radha, Assistant Professor of English working in Government First Grade College, Bidadi. Today I am going to present my PPT for first semester BA students on the module 3, The Acts, a short story written by R.K.Narayan. So before moving to the lesson, let me briefly introduce to what the short story is. What is a short story? A short story is nothing but a brief fictional prose narrative that is shorter than a novel with limited characters. The story revolves around an individual character in a short story. So, my second point tells you about the narratives that were very much present in our ancient India. So these short stories were present in the form of oral traditions in our ancient India, and these can be traced in ancient legends, mythology, like in Mahabharata and Ramayana, folklore and fables, Janapada Kathegalu, found in communities all over the world in the form of oral traditions, that is, narratives or oral traditions. So, when do we find, or when are the traces of the short story textual form being traced or found in India? So it is said that the earliest and the most fascinating stories in India are the tales in Pali language, the Jatakas. These stories have a religious frame with secular behavior and practical wisdom. When you read or watch these stories, you will understand about what the secular behavior and the practical wisdom stands in the short story. It allows you, there is a message in each story about independent thinking. It allows you to know the importance of thinking independently. So if you think independently and if you act accordingly, then you are a self-molded individual. It says not to listen or not just to see and then to assume things. No, you apply your logical or the common sense that allows you to be a great individual. That's what the Jataka tells you in the outset. So then you have got contemporaneous Panchatantra, Katha Sarit Sagara, Aesop's fable. Panchatantra and Aesop's fable we are very much familiar with. I have written Aesop's fable because we are all familiar with the hare and the tortoise and the hare, the ant and the grasshopper fable or the short story. Aesop fable represents Greece or Greek country. It is also said that Panchatantra and Aesop's fable that tell or narrate the short stories through animal characters have strong similarities. Few stories have strong similarities according to researchers. So now, coming to my next slide, I'm just shifting from the first slide. I have just introduced to what the short story is and the traces of short stories in oral form and written form in our ancient India. Now, I want to just throw light on what realistic story is, because when you read R.K. Narayan, you will understand the story, realistic stories, what are realistic stories are, and what are the characteristics of realistic stories. As Christoph Wieland and Friedrich Schleiermacher says, or are of the opinion that short stories to be realistic. So what is realistic? Stories have to come from real life. Though the characters they show in the stories are fictional in the sense they won't bear the same name, they won't have the same name. The names are changed. Okay, but it has to reflect the naturality. What the naturality? What do you mean by reflect natural as I have written? It has to reflect the common man's psyche. Common man's psyche. Psyche, what is that? Mean the mindset of an individual in the changing process of the society. So in the society, everything changes. Nothing is old. Day by day, there are new things that enter. So how is that the man and his mind is going to respond to that? And this is what he says has to be reflected in a short story. Coming to Edgar Allan Poe, short story must have, as he says, a compact unified effect. What do you mean by compact unified effect? Again, according to Poe, he says, compact unified effect means it has to, who the writer, okay, has to make the story in a way that the reader has to feel for the character, has to touch readers' emotions, he says. These two aspects we find very much in R.K. Narayan's writing. Now coming to the next slide, here is R.K. Narayan, his Malgudi stories and Malgudi town. As you know, R.K. Narayan's fictitious town is Malgudi. Nowhere in Karnataka we find Malgudi, but he has created his own town and named it as Malgudi. So let us now get to know about the author. So R.K. Narayan is Razipuram Krishnaswamy Iyer Narayana Swami. So his birth date 10th October 1906 and the last day of his is 13th May 2001. He has written many novels and short stories. And so well-known novels are Swami and His Friends, The Bachelor of Arts, The English Teacher, and The Guide. The Financial Expert and The Guide are the two popular films, Banker Margaya. In his 60 years of his career, he has received many awards and honors. What are the awards and the honors he has acclaimed? The A.C. Benson Medal from the Royal Society of Literature, and at the same time the highest civilian award, the Padma Bhushan and the Padma Vibhushan. He was also nominated to the Rajya Sabha in 1980. Now let us know the world of Razipuram Krishnaswamy Narayan, R.K. Narayan. So what is the world? Why world of R.K. Narayan? As we all know, R.K. Narayan has created his own town, Malgudi. And so Girla quotes, Malgudi is Narayan's castle bridge. So why castle bridge here? We have to understand that Narayan, R.K. Narayan belongs to 20th century short story writers genre. So here, what is this Castle Bridge? Castle Bridge is the fictitious town of Thomas Hardy, the 19th century writer, Victorian writer, or England British writer. Second, coming to my second point, stories reflect Indian sensibility, perfect harmony of style and subject. Of course, his short stories or novels deal or tell about the Indian human psyche. And the way he expresses in the novel his character, or it may be the style of his writing, is very simplistic. Is very simplistic. The third point is R.K.Narayan concern is sociological. So what is sociological? Human behavior in the society. His every writing traces the human psyche, the human behavior in the society. How does a man tries to cope up the change in the society? How does his mindset work? How does his mind work? What means the way he thinks? What does he think about the changes he is undergoing? This is what he is concerned with in his writings. The fourth one is his success lies in aesthetic satisfaction. So, in R.K. Narayan's writing, nowhere, nothing is passing. He just doesn't ignore things. He fills life in each and every minute incident and things. That gives a big satisfaction to the reader. Then coming to the fifth point, his short stories belongs to the native psychological factors, the crisis of individual soul, as I have repeated in my second point. Indian sensibility, here it's native psychological factors. So Indian sensibility, when it comes to fifth point, it is the native psychological factors, in the sense his stories or in the novel, he expresses his feelings about what he has experienced in and around. So his stories always tells about his shared experiences and the way he has observed things and the way the man finds very difficult to get along with the changes the society brings or gives him. That is the crisis of individual soul. That is the human behavior in the society. Native, local, in and around his, living. Then comes sixth, humor and pathos go parallel to each other in his short stories, of course. He is very righteous. He is very sensitive to righteous things. And at the same time, he also reveals the sad part of an individual that he is undergoing. And so humor, he feels right, he feels happy in expressing the positive and at the same time the negative thing happening, where the individual in his character or the mind, the individuality, the identity crisis that the character is undergoing has been said both the humor and pathos. In the sense, he has got both the positive and the negative, the beauty and the sad part has been very much runs parallel, means runs equally. It has been told in a satirical, ironical way in the form of irony. Thank you. These are the books that amends the sites and the book I have referred. Thank you.